That was my weekly thought. Okay, so let's move on then.
Shall we?
Let's move on. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into today's big question. Now, there was a bit of confusion around this week's big question because we want to talk about manifestation. Mm-hmm. Now, when Pronink was like, oh, you know what, manifestation might be a great topic for us to touch, I was like, yeah, you're right. That would be a great topic for us to touch. Let's do it. To me, manifestation is one thing. To Pronink, manifestation is another thing.
That's not necessarily true.
Okay, it's not necessarily true. We just
had a cross of wires, that's all.
Okay, so we had a cross of wires. So we are still gonna, of course, touch the topic of manifestation. We probably might come at it from two different angles.
Hold on, pause.
Yeah.
Since when have we started doing PowerPoints? Nobody gave me this memo.
Different approaches is what I was saying.
Gracious.
Hang on. Let's minimize that. Okay, all right, fine. So manifestation then.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the conversation around manifestation is a matter of whether manifestation is biblical. It's something that it's a practice that Christians should be partaking in. If so, how should they be doing it? Mm-hmm. How can we do it in a way that, I guess, praises, exalts, and gives glory to God? So if Christians are to do it, how are they meant to do it? So manifestation, as I understood it, is according to the definition of Psychology Today, it says manifestation is the idea that through the power of belief, we can effectively think and go into becoming reality.
Yeah.
It's a form of magical thinking or the need to believe that one's hopes and desires can have an effect on how the world tends. So before I move on, what did you in your head? What was manifestation to you?
Oh no, not it was exactly that.
No, it wasn't.
I'm hearing a beep.
No, yeah, I think it's
right. Okay. I didn't look at any definitions whatsoever, but according to the conversation we were having, and this is why I was saying context matters. He led me to believe.
No. You led me to believe
that we were talking about evil spirit manifestations.
Okay.
Yeah. Demonic manifestations. So people portraying, let's say, people being possessed by demons and then manifesting, like, I don't know, demonic things like spirits, witchcraft. I don't know.
If that's the case, why did you ask if that was biblical? Because the thing said, is it biblical or is it religious?
I didn't ask if it was biblical though. Are you forgetting I took this from my old notes? I literally copied and pasted it from your old notes actually. Okay. So
ladies and gentlemen,
you knew where it came from.
If you ever wondered why it's a terrible idea to copy and paste without editing, this is a perfect example. You do not copy and paste someone else's work.
But in my head, it made sense according to the conversation we were having. That's what I told you. According to what we've just finished discussing, that made sense that you also, opted for that. And I was like, perfect. But anyway, so according to this definition, stop trying to embarrass me on air. And let's go.
All right. So in any case, the practice of manifestation is big, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's been growing in popularity. And it's something that a lot of people who are looking for self-improvement, self-development, success and progression in life, they either come across or end up practicing, right? It is actually a big thing. And it's funny because it doesn't matter whether you're looking at like Buddhism or yoga or mindfulness or anything else like that. Most self-help areas usually touch upon manifestation or it comes up in one form or another. So in any case, it is relevant because it's something that impacts a lot of people. So it's something that we can talk through. But I guess then the question is it biblical? So the understanding that if we think something or if we will something enough, we can actually get it. And I want to share the next definition that came up, and this was from a manifestation coach, right? So they said manifesting is the process of vibrating at a high frequency so that you become a vibrational match with the universe and can co-create your world. Thoughts?
All right. You lost me at the first definition, truth be told.
First definition?
Yeah.
How so?
I'm not well versed in psychology or anything like that. So I'll tackle this from the language that I know best.
Okay, granted.
When I think of manifesting in a biblical sense, yeah, this to me sounds a lot more to do with, let's say, it's like the focus is placed on mankind. Yeah, the focus is placed on you can do anything, yeah, you want if you believe it. Now, obviously, we know that there's a lot of connotations because it's not just sitting on your desk and believing. You have to put the work in and whatnot. But essentially, it's like what the second definition is saying, which is almost like, and this word is always used a lot as well, frequency with the universe, you know, and then you start vibrating. So it's almost like your consciousness is aligning with the universe, and then you can make whatever you want come to reality. Again, I'm going to be fair and say that obviously through hard work. It's not about just believing.
Not necessarily.
In a business context, it'd be through hard work, which is what I know from. And that's why I'm saying that you lost me at the first definition, because if I'm thinking of manifesting it from a biblical sense, yeah, this verse captures it quite nicely. We can do all things through God who strengthens us.
Christ.
Through Christ who strengthens us. Yeah. So for me, a simple definition biblically would be, it's about believing that what God has in store for you, or what God has in plan for you, you know, he will deliver it. He will give it to you. Now, again, I don't want to say that it's about sitting on your sitting down doing nothing and whatnot. But this is coming from a context of you are high in spirit, so you're a spiritual person in tune with God. And there's a lot of scriptures that will show you that things that we need or ask for or even think of in that kind of context, 9 out of 10 times they're always going to be in tune with what God has in plan for your life, which at times you may not know, because obviously spirituality is all about faith. So it's about following the path that God has laid for you, you know, that it will come to fruition. So for me, I would be taking manifesting from that point of view, from manifesting the thing that God has put in you.
All right. So you're manifesting the things that God has put in you. Is what
so
you're saying.
You are never the source.
So
you are the vessel.
So according to what you're saying, then you sort of take this definition to say, but instead of universe, you'd replace it with God.
Yes. You are never the source. Yes.
So you become co-creators with God.
That is actually biblical language. I'm not offended by that language.
Is it?
It is, because remember, we were created to be rulers on the earth. Yeah.
Not creators.
Again, I think this goes into a deeper conversation of what do you mean by creation, because things that examples that I've heard people say, which I'll be more inclined to agree with. Some people will say, okay, did somebody create this mobile phone, or did they form the mobile phone? Because this didn't just come out of nowhere. Someone thought of an idea and put something together, and that's why we have phones, cars, you know, beds, whatever. All these things that we use in the human world, God gave someone the intelligence to be able to bring that into forth. So is the language you're gonna use gonna be forming or creating? You see? So that's why I'm saying that for me, at that place, God has given us some sort of ability to be able to do certain things that didn't come naturally, like let's say trees and plants or whatever. But even them, we plant them, we water them, we till the land.
That's
and
cultivation.
then they grow. Cultivation, yes, fine, fair enough, I accept that. So what word do you use at the end of this process that then brings together a laptop, for example, wireless internet connections, that kind of thing?
No, so what word is it?
For me, at the moment, I can say creating is fine, or forming is kind, bringing forth those are fine. You are using a lot of material, certain things, and the intelligence that God gave you to be able to bring something into existence that otherwise wouldn't have existed.
Okay, so
by that, one can argue that yes, we are creators as well.
Okay, fine. So as far as I understand it, if someone is manifesting, they don't manifest an iPhone.
Of course not. I was answering your creation.
No, but obviously that's asking the question of manifestation, so we have to stay in that context.
Yes.
Because if we're talking about manifesting, you people usually I had a quick look to see what are the top 5 things people manifest, and I think money was one, health was one,
So wait, so
love was
let
one.
me pause you there. You can manifest money.
Yeah.
So like, what do you mean? Like, break it down for me. So like,
as in, if someone wants to manifest having lots of money, that's what they'll manifest, and that's what they'll obviously there are a lot of different manifestation methods. So whatever method they're using, what they want. So because the process of manifestation is you figure out what you want, and then you pick a method of manifestation in you getting that thing. So whether it's journaling, some people say journaling, so if you want money, some people tell you every day write exactly how much money you want, and I'm sure if even in the business context, I'm sure you've come across
we are taught about
this idea,
goals and aims and writing objectives and stuff like that.
Are you talking about in the business one?
Yeah.
But in the more like new age wishy-washy business mentors, they'll tell you, write down that next year you're gonna have 1,233 pounds. Write down the number to the dot, and every day write it in your journal. Every day write it in your journal. That's a form of manifestation, for example.
Right.
So I think money was number 1. Health was up there. Love and soulmates was up there. Personal relationships or something.
That's love, isn't it?
They're done as separate. And I can't think what the 5th one is. But so for example, like love, for example, yeah. So when you say, okay, yes, the language of being co-creators with God is there, which I don't know about co-creators, but I understand what you're saying. I get your point. So how would you? So someone wants love. Yeah, let's say someone wants love, they want a soulmate. Yeah, and they said, okay, I want to manifest the perfect partner to me. Yeah, how are they doing that in your based on what you're saying? How are they doing that?
Based in the definition that I've given you.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the definition that I've given, it's a whole thing. It's a doctrine understanding. So it's a prayer. It's a prayerful approach to meeting somebody. It's a knowledgeable approach to meeting somebody, and it's lastly it's a faith approach. So again, is to look at it from this point of view. The way I look at it, if I have a desire to settle down and marry somebody, as a believer, I've got to believe that was put in me by God. So it's the right thing to do. Now, if that's the case, I don't know whether it's age or whatever, but when the time is right, I'm prayerfully going to be open to the idea of meeting somebody, and purposely go to certain places that, you want to meet somebody. So for example, if I'm in a church community or whatnot, I should be anyway attending, let's say, Bible studies, church gatherings or whatever. I should be active anyway. But it's for me, it's more about aligning your mind to, okay, I think I'm ready for somebody now. And then allowing the Spirit to lead you in that. I'm gonna use in that search.
So how are you manifesting that perfect partner then?
I don't know.
What
are you doing? Use the word manifest. That's the thing. That's why I told you.
Then it gets back to my challenge.
Yeah. That's why I gave you how I understand that process. So the word manifest may not be the right one for me.
Okay, fine. Okay.
Initially, I already told you that I have a problem with the definitions.
Okay.
So the word may not be accurate anymore in what I'm saying, because otherwise, if I'm gonna try to force it in, I would be saying that, okay, the process of you prayerfully and faithfully waiting upon the Lord, being open with God that you want to get married and meet somebody. This can be termed as the process of manifesting, because then what's going to happen
but if it's through prayer and supplication and fasting, if you really want a partner, then God is doing that, not you.
Exactly. Which takes me back to what I was saying. The source is always God. It's not you.
But that's the point. That the point of manifestation is that you are manifesting something.
Which takes me back to my first point.
The source.
Meaning that I have a big problem with that take on manifestation.
Fine. So then I follow your thread because and I'm glad you got to where you got to, because I was gonna challenge your thread anyway, but you got your own challenge as well, because you're like, well, if that's the case, then manifest doesn't come in my equation. That's what you said.
Yeah,
then the
of
term of manifest doesn't come out in my equation, and I would agree with that, because the idea of manifestation, like the second definition we read, is to say that if you think about something hard enough, or if you're in this zone or whatever, you know, dedicated enough, then you become attuned with the universe. And through that, the universe gives you what you through want, that basically. Through that you manifest your desires from the universe, because it goes back to the understanding that,
but honestly, that sorry, what the heck, what is the universe then?
It's not dumb, because for them the understanding is that the universe is the universe is God, right?
But they just won't use the word God.
No. I'm using God so that we understand what they mean. Okay. Because obviously,
so the universe is the source of power for them that you can tap into.
Yes.
Via a frequency.
Yes.
That then gives you, it makes you create your own reality.
Yes, basically. Exactly that. Because for them, the universe is all there is. So and to be, because it's the source of power, life, light, darkness. The universe is the ultimate thing. So our goal as humans, and remember, I'm sure you've heard people say that, we have the universe in us, and we are the universe. We are part of the universe. Our atoms form the universe, etc., etc., etc. So that's the idea of manifestation, right? That we in essence can bring forth anything that we want, to. That's the idea of manifestation. And to be honest with you, to agree with what you've said, it's not biblical at all. It's not biblical. There is no way that a Christ believing Christian can say, I'm a Christian, and I practice manifestation in any way. It just doesn't tally up.
So let me ask you a question then. Okay, because the reality is that there are so many Christians, or called Christians, churches. In fact, there's a church that I went to, I think I told you about it recently, that their tagline is the home of signs and wonders. Which is heavily into manifesting basically things that you want. It's a well-known thing in the Christendom. So what are we saying then about those people? I'm pretty sure if we were to look hard enough, we could get people that would come with testimonies and be like, yeah, I manifested this into my life. So what are we to say about that then? If somebody can come and say that, okay,
pagan, demonic, run the other way. So
I didn't want to ask that, because I knew you were going to say that. So but I held out for hope. I was like, no. Maybe.
So funnily enough, so one of the questions I had was, does it work? And the answer is yes, it can. But just because it does work, it doesn't mean it's biblical. In fact, most things of the darkness do work, which is why people do them.
Of course, Lucifer wasn't stripped of his power.
Yeah.
They were just kicked out, and all the other demons as well. If they can walk through walls and possess people and conjure up things, I'm pretty sure you can do it. So did he not say to Christ that, oh, you see this whole world God has given you? You ask of anything, I will give you, because it's mine. So,
right. I mean, if you're asking me, does partaking in the works of darkness bring forth riches and goodness and whatever? Hell yes, it can.
Even though you are unknowingly partaking in the works of
whether you're unknowingly or knowingly, yes, but that's where the snare is, isn't it? So for those that have been listening with us since the beginning, at the beginning of this conversation, we were talking about the demonic works and sacrificing the pagans and stuff like that. Why do you think people are doing all this stuff? Why people are doing blood covenants and going to witch doctors and stuff like that? Because they work. And but just because they work, it doesn't mean they're biblical. So if it's a matter of do their work, I think manifestation can work. And especially if you're dedicated to it long enough, you definitely tap into a spirit.
I think that's the right way of doing it.
You definitely tap into a spirit. Yeah, you definitely tap into a spirit, and you can see signs and wonders and miracles and whatnot. And
in fact, isn't that one of the things that the Antichrist is going to be doing? Or rather, let me put it this way, the beast that we're seeing in Revelation, the second one, he worked wonders and whatnot.
Yes.
So and so and so forth.
Yes.
So to say that Is it the second one? Am I correct? Yeah, it was the second one, the one out of the earth. Yeah. So to say that even the dark side of things, if you tap into that kind of energy, I'm gonna say, or spirit, you can bring forth your desires and whatnot. It's not unheard of.
No,
because that's exactly what people are going to be seeing in this person, and then wondering after the beast. And they also what he was doing, and hence they wondered after the beast, saying that who is like the beast? Who can match him? Exactly. What was he doing? Signs and wonders.
Yeah. So one of the other questions I had was the fact that the first question that gave me pause was, hang on, but doesn't the Bible say God will give us the desires of our hearts? Because I was like, when the manifestation question came up, I was like, well, yeah, manifest. God says will give us the desires of our hearts. But then I went to the verse that said God will give us the desires of my heart.
So let's read it before I comment.
Yeah.
And let's I shoot myself in the foot.
Well, okay, before we read, what were you going to say? No.
You're not going to do that.
It's progress. It shows progress. No, just what were you going to say?
You want me to air my heart?
Before we read, what were you going to say?
No. I was just going to say that for me, it's a context thing. Everything is a doctrinal thing. So yes, he will give you the desires of your heart, but you need to understand what he's talking about when he says desires of your heart, and also in what state are you in for you to talk about desires of your heart in the first place.
Okay, fine. Stop there. On that note, then let's read it. Okay, look. So this one says Psalms 37. This is right. So I'll start from 1. The verse we want is a bit further out.
What version are we reading?
ESV. It's my favorite version.
Okay.
So it says, "Fret not yourselves because of evildoers, but be not envious of wrongdoers, for they will soon fade like the grass and wither like the green herb. Trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land and befriend faithfulness. Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart."
Let me pause you there. A few years from now, somebody's gonna be pulling up all these clips and trying to prove that you are a demonic person. So that little flambo, instead of Lord, you wanted to say world, they're gonna be like, see? They're gonna be like, see?
If they, okay, fine. In that the case, then let me say I would drink some water to dry my lips, lubricate my thing, so that I don't make any more stumbles like that. Okay. But yeah. So obviously this sort of just supports what you were saying about. So that verse, "I will give you the desires of your heart," is in context. It's not just God saying, "Oh yeah, I'll give you the desires."
The Lord and do good. So already
exactly.
You what kind of person it's speaking to.
Yeah.
It's not talking about. It's very funny. I came across a clip of this world is a weird world. A sex worker on one of the podcasts, and she's saying that, "No, I'm a Christian and God is looking after me doing sex work," and people are questioning her about this, the fact that she's sinning it. For some reason, it was just oblivious to her. She was just not getting it. She was just like, no. And then she tried to make a point, say, "Oh, who did Jesus hang out with when he was on earth? He hung out with thieves,
drunkards and prostitutes
and sex workers." And she's trying to say that to validate the work that she's doing. And I'm watching this club, make it make sense. So the guy says to her, "What about when he said go and sin no more? Go and sin no more."
Yeah, good verse,
she was just there like, what do you mean? Honestly, paraphrased. I don't know where it came from. I'm so sorry, but maybe next time I'll bring it. It was a very interesting clip. But yeah.
No, but I mean, I read the verse and we're going to finish just because I liked the end of it as well. Because it says, "Delight yourself in the Lord and He will give you the desires of your heart. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust in Him and He will act."
And that's why I was saying that you are never the source. And the thing is that the annoying thing about this is that the work, I'm going to try to articulate this very well. I'm not advocating for laziness. The same Bible says that
if you don't work, starve.
Exactly. So this is not about conjuring things into existence without doing anything. But at the same time, even in that work, it's understanding that it's not the work, it's not the hard work. What does that Bible say? It's not in the strength of the horses. I think it's Joel or something. Yeah. It's not in the strength of the horses or the mighty men
somewhere as well.
Or the mighty men. You know. So even if you've got a job, even if you are working 9 to 12 hours a day, whatever, to try to make your dreams come true, whatever, you know, it's an understanding that even in that, it's not you that's doing it. You know, God will give you the desires of your heart. It's an act of, I don't know how I can phrase it.
Let me help and up it one, right? Because when we're reading the verse, it says, "Trust in the Lord, trust in the Lord and do good, dwell in the land and befriend faithfulness, right? The fact of the matter is, if you're in the Lord, if you're trusting in the Lord,
you're not even going to be doing 12 to 12 shifts. You'll be working normal hours, good hours, with a little bit of overtime.
You may be, but my point is, the beautiful thing about the gospel is that even your desires will change.
That's very true.
So the things that you're actually desiring will change. So what I was thinking about is that I think Christians have an issue where they're stuck between God and the world, or the flesh and spirit. So it's like we're spirit beings, but we want fleshly things, or it's like we're fleshly beings, but we want to.
Is it just we can't avoid fleshly beings? Now, this discussion, another discussion altogether. But my relationship with money has changed in recent times. Yeah, and I think we can both agree that money is important in life, right? There's
important. Okay, what do you mean? What do you mean by important? Before I agree, what do you mean by important?
What I mean is that
quick side note
is being made possible because of the money that went into it.
Yes.
We have cameras, although they're very cheap. They're phones, actually. People give us donations. We have laptops that if you unplug the charger, it's gonna go off again. Give us money. But we have equipment in here that we bought using money.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a house that had money that went into it.
Yeah.
A studio that you renovated with money into it. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So I think the reason I'm saying that, okay, fine, certain desires will change, but I think there are certain common things that, although you may not lose sleep over them because you trust in the Lord, their importance will never change.
Well, it's
even if you're going to pay tax to Caesar, you're going to need to go find a fish, to find a coin, to go pay tax. That coin is important. I don't think you're going to run away from that.
I think I am going to run away from that. Because...
Try it. And then your next holiday, tell me that you didn't touch no money and you flew to Africa.
No. So, but this is why I asked, what do you mean by important, right? Is money useful? Yes.
But it's a little bit more than useful.
No.
It is important.
But remember,
it's not everything, but it's important.
But before I asked, this is why I said, what do you mean by important? Because everything you listed to make your point of why important means nothing to me.
Okay, all right.
Did you see? So this is what I mean. This is why I asked. What do you mean by
fine? Let me put it like this. Is
it necessary? Yes. So if you say money is necessary, I'll say yes. I agree with you.
Okay, fine. I'll necessary and important.
Yes, money is necessary.
I would say necessary and important because
money is necessary.
Okay, let me bring it down. Okay, you can live without. Let's say we can trash podcasts. You can trash holidays. Fine. You can't trash house. You need somewhere to stay.
I mean, we don't have to stay in this house.
Whatever house you're gonna stay in, you're gonna need money to stay in that house.
Okay, fair enough. Okay.
Let's put rent at £50. You need £50 to stay in a house.
Not if I build one out of woods, trees I can get from the forest for free.
And then the land you're building it on.
What about the land I'm building on?
Where are you getting the land from?
I'll go in the forest somewhere. It belongs to God.
Okay, fine, fair enough. So many complications with that, but let me go.
Okay.
Hold on. So you're talking about leaving UK, going to the forest somewhere, or in the UK?
The UK has forests, you know.
Okay, or in the UK, you go to the forest somewhere.
Yeah.
How are you gonna get to that forest?
Walk. I don't understand what the issue is.
Continue. No. I'm not gonna win this one. It's fine.
No. This is what I'm saying. If
give me all your money,
if you say it's necessary, I will agree. But recently, I've been having conversations with my wife because something that's dawning on me heavily is how much we as humans we've sacrificed our freedoms and our agency. Do you remember what you're talking about? How Candace was saying the Hollywood is intentionally, not Hollywood, but whatever government is intentionally destroying families so that, you know, they can influence people.
Intentionally putting us in debt so that we can be driven into debt.
Not debt, but if you think about your life,
I agree
right?
with you. I agree with that aspect.
99% of your life is outsourced.
What do you mean outsourced?
As in you need Tesco's for food. You need fuel and, you know, blah blah for transport and whatever. And literally we had this conversation. I was like, you know what? I now understand why people in lands that's possible uproot their families, go in the forest somewhere, and start like a self-sustaining lifestyle. Like they grow their own food.
Yeah, it sounds like making your life hard for no reason to me.
But that's the point. And this is the realization I had. We've sacrificed our freedom for convenience. That's exactly what I told her. What's wrong with that?
If you can still be a devout man of God,
what's wrong with that is that as soon as people come for the convenience, you made this point before to say that when they come for the convenience, then we'll realize how easy people cave.
Of course.
but this, you know,
take away my paracetamol.
You know what? I was thinking, we pay for water. No. It falls out of the sky. Guys, think about this.
No. You can't
water
drink water
falls. Yes, you can. Why not?
Just like you can't drink water in the sea. Why can't you drink the water in the sea?
You can. Where do you think they get the water that we pay for?
They put a lot of work into it to make you drink of water.
This is what I mean.
Not just
chronic. This is what I mean.
There's a lot of salt in that sea. You're gonna dry.
If you get a bowl, not the sea, obviously, not the sea. If you get a bowl, put it outside. It rains. That bowl fills with water. That is fresh water you have there.
From where?
From the sky. What is wrong with you?
No. Science told me that that's the evaporation that goes up there. So surely that can't be.
My point is, water falls from the sky.
It can't be clean water.
And it's absolutely clean. And I was sitting there talking to my wife about how we have to pay £600 for the water bill. And I'm like, this falls out of the sky. But anyway, that's besides the point. But that's
that per year.
Yeah.
Because if you're paying that per month, then I ain't moving. I'm not moving anywhere.
No, to be fair, that's actually quite high on average. I don't know if something must be leaking somewhere because that's quite high. But anyway, okay, let's backtrack. You wanted to make a point, and you said money was important. Go on from the point you wanted to make from that.
I honestly can't remember what we're talking about.
Manifestation.
No, I think I was challenged, on the last point you were making to say that. What were you saying? Anyway, carry on. It'll come back. Let's just swiftly move on. Do you want another interlude?
No interlude. Okay, fine. So let's move on. We are, of course, still talking about manifestation. We sort of took a little detour there.
Big detour.
Hopefully, you came with us and you understood exactly what we're talking about. But the point of manifestation I was making is that yes, the Bible does say God will give us the desires of our hearts. However, that comes with context. That comes with desires. Yes.
So you then branched off into, it's dawned in on you that a lot of, I think what you wanted to say was a lot of a desires are actually controlled. So. I had made the point to say that I had made the point to say that Christians are stuck between the word and God, flesh and spirit. Yes.
So you're saying yes, but.
Yeah, I wanted to bring in the aspect of the necessity of some fleshly stuff,
like what?
Money.
But money is not fleshly. The love and desire and attachment to money is what could be described as a fleshly desire.
We're gonna go off again. Just
no. I mean,
which is built because of the need to be housed, clothed, fed, and have a decent life. So the love and anxiety that is coming from there, is just not out of, I just want money. We do have core needs that we need to meet in order for us to at least live a decent life. So we are gonna worry about money. So fine, if you say money is not it's not the flesh itself, the desire for money is, I'm gonna say, yeah, that's fine. It's just, you've just added another step.
Yeah, because okay, housing I get, but why are you breaking your back to get a 6-bedroom house when
with everything there's always nuances. So again, when I talk, especially in this kind of context, we'll have to assume we're talking about the foundation of it all. Yeah, we're not talking about people that are comfortable in a house but they want a mansion and then they're breaking their backs, like that can go into greediness and
no.
So we're talking about, an average family, an average guy, woman just wanting to keep the roof over their heads, feed themselves, and then be able to go on holiday once or twice a year, which I don't think is too much to ask for.
Okay, listen, we need to peg this because I have a lot of things to say on what you've just said, but we're going to end up diverting again. Okay. But I think the point you're making is that certain things like money, like food, are necessities for the sustaining of life.
Yes.
Which I would agree. What I'm saying is that, yes, you need a roof over your head. You don't need a roof with 6 rooms. It gets to a point where what you want is because of pride, or maybe because of arrogance. Maybe you just want people to see you having a big house, or you want to do better than your neighbor, or a lot of it.
Nuances.
A lot of it comes into it. But if you're talking about everybody's going to need a roof over their head, everybody needs clothes, everybody needs food, I agree with you, right? Okay, so then right, let's move on then, because there were a couple of things that caught my attention that I want to bring up. Because in talking about manifestation and a lot of it, obviously I said the different types of manifestation methods, and two in particular really caught my eye, and I think you might like these because they touch on your area, not of expertise, but just your area, right?
Okay. I wonder what area this is, but
you see. Okay.
Let's see.
So this is just another addition to see how manifestation has really nothing to do with God, and if any Christians shouldn't be partaking with it, because if any Christians want something, Philippians tells us, take your prayers, your supplications to God, right? With thanksgiving, take them to God, and that's what we as Christians should be doing. We shouldn't be thinking, oh, let me manifest, blah blah blah. No, take it to God, wait for God to answer. But in looking at the manifestation methods, I came across two manifestation methods. The first one they call the whisper method. Now this I find interesting because they say the whisper method is where you hang on, it works me do this. Yeah, the whisper method, it says it works on the belief that voicing desires can attract a desired outcome, right? Manifestation, that's the thing. But it says with the whisper method, you first set an intention, then you visualize whispering your desires into the ear of a specific person.
Interesting.
Ideally, this is someone, about such as a boss or romantic partner. The whisperer wants to take specific action, right? So in this whisper method, you have your desire. So let's say, for example, you want to get promoted. Yeah. So you visualize whispering into your boss's ear that you want the promotion, right? Now this was weird to me because I was like, this is clearly witchcraft, no?
Biasness.
No.
Hold on.
Pronic.
From just reading that, what would make you think?
Is that not voodoo? To you, is that not a voodoo practice?
Okay, fine. Pause. Okay, fine.
Is that not a voodoo practice?
Right. Okay.
That's voodoo
instead
practice.
Of having the door whispering to it, you're just visualizing the person, and you're whispering to them in their ear.
Yeah. That's voodoo practice right there. Hey.
I'll come back tomorrow and I'm promoted. I'll be like, yeah. Don't tell that episode.
But remember, I said, does it work? Yes, it does work.
Mad. Okay, fine, fair enough. And this is practiced in Christian churches, is what you're saying?
No. This is just a method of manifestation. So this is part of the manifestation space, whatever arena. Yeah. So, but I mean, I read that, I was like, that's voodoo. That's witchcraft.
Do you think? Right? Not do you think? But I think this is the case. Where, especially where science is involved, when we talk about things like high frequency, the universe, or I don't know, the stars, the sun. I think it's just all language that is camouflaging the fact that it's all demonic,
or spiritual,
which obviously then leads to. Yeah, it's not God's spiritual. You know what I mean? That's why I said demonic.
Yeah. So the thing is, it is a known. I'm gonna say fact, but maybe fact is not the right word, but I'll say fact. It's a known fact that there is more to this world than the physical.
100%.
And maybe the only people that disagree with this are blinded scientists and ignorant and uninformed people. But for most people, they will tell you that, you know what, I don't believe in God. Maybe I haven't got the faith. I can't get on board with the board thing, but there's something. Like, I can't get on board with the God thing, but no, there's definitely something, right? Even if it's like localized to just humans. Because someone will tell you, it's like, okay, if you walk into the room and you feel the tension, what are you feeling?
Exactly.
So people will tell you that
exactly.
Even on a human level,
you
understand that there's something.
My emotions, I guess. If there's tension, let's say you walk into a room and people, I don't know, but yeah, you can sense that people are tense.
Yeah.
So essentially, the spirits are sensing each other, and the room is filled with tensed spirits.
Exactly.
Yeah, like sometimes you can walk into a room and nobody said anything, and you be like, "What's going on in here?"
Yeah.
Like, who's died? That kind of thing.
Exactly, because you walk into the room and you feel something something beyond just physical, something just beyond your heart and your blood and your whatever. And most people acknowledge that. Second method
Richard
of
Dawkins will tell you that open the windows, it was a bit stuck. A guy's got an answer.
To be fair, Richard Dawkins, I don't know. So I'll talk to him one day. But I do like his honesty in what he thinks.
100%. And straightforwardness in answering things.
Yeah. So I feel like he's an easy person to have a conversation with, because you know where you're at. I'll tell you where I'm at. Okay, this is the space between us. Let's discuss that space.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. The next method that I found interesting, it's not method, but another thing in the manifesting space. So there's this thing called the 1010 portal, right? And apparently the 1010 is on October the 10th. It's a significant day for manifestations and spiritual growth. And everyone, each zodiac sign, can leverage the energy of this day to set intentions in areas like career, financial stability, relationships, health, personal development through techniques such as meditation, visualizations, and affirmations.
You lost me at the zodiac signs. Those not the Leos and Capricorns and whatnot.
Yeah. Those same ones. But the point, the thing that took my attention is like there is this. They have a high day. They have like a day of atonement. Almost
or a 3 p.m. A 3 a.m. time for the high spirit. Demonic time.
Yeah. So it's like a day where I don't know the barriers. You've seen movies like this where it's like a particular day or moment where like the barrier between the physical and the spiritual is weakened or something, and therefore things can cross over and whatnot. But on this day, upon October the 10th, is a day that anyone in the manifestation space, this is a big day for them. You know, they really manifest. They really call in those demons.
Lamborghini.
But yeah, look. The reason I said you might like that is because obviously you're coming away from like the witchcraft side of things and the demons and whatnot. And
it is.
I think this is like an entry point into those things where, okay, you may go into it and mess, just journaling, just write down what you want each day, and the idea behind it is that it keeps you focused. It keeps you focused. But then it's like you start there, and then before you know it on October the 10th.
Let me ask you a question then. Is it because I've had conversations with people where in the same thing, because like I said, in a business context, you write down objectives. So you write down something like by this time next year, I would have, let's say, saved up X amount of money. I would have, let's say, progressed my career to this extent. So these are objectives that you write, and then you write aims of how to achieve your objectives.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily manifestation like it's just going to happen.
It's goal setting.
It's goal setting and something that keeps you focused, you know. And some people I've even heard stories of someone that cut out a picture of a house they wanted, stuck it on the wall. So every day they were seeing that house, and that was their focal point. I'm gonna get that house one day. And I think it was like within 2 or 3 years or whatever, they had managed to do things, and eventually they were able to buy the house. Is that different to what we're discussing, or would you say that's within the same space of what we're discussing right now?
I would say it could be within the same space, but I would say it's different. Inherently, it's different, but it could share the same space, because I think manifestation is spiritual. It's a spiritual act.
So you're saying that goal setting can also be a spiritual act?
No, you can goal set within your inside of your manifestation. So you can get into this manifestation spirit, and then in that you can goal set.
Okay, so let's take an everyday Joe who doesn't know neither, because we were talking about people partaking in certain things that they may not know, right? So let's take an average guy who's learned about this goal setting thing. They are not aware of that, and nor are they a believer. but they are faithful in practicing that. They've set their goals, they're visualizing it, they have their picture of the Lamborghini and the whatnot on the wall, and they're thinking about it every day. I'm gonna get that one day. Let's say they've given themselves a time of 2 years. In 2 years, I'm gonna get that. In 2 years, I'm gonna get that. Where do they fall?
They've set a goal, and they're working towards that goal. So from them, that act of getting that house is not a spiritual act. That house is not coming from the universe. That aim is not to will it into their life through the power of the universe. Their point is, you know what? I want this house. How do I need to get this house? I need to have X amount of money. I need to have good credit. I need to have this job. I need to get this job. Okay, cool. Where am I now? Where do I want to be? Okay, what steps do I need to get? Boom, 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 boom. Okay, cool. 2 years, let's do it. And then every day you wake up, I'm coming for your house. You leave the house. So for me, that's goal setting. That's motivation. That's striving for something. No issues there. Obviously, that everything in the Lord. So he would have a separate issue if we're discussing that. But if it's something that, but that's the difference. The difference is it's not a, because with manifestation, I don't know if you've ever spoken to anyone who believes in this kind of stuff, but you do realize it is definitely it's a spiritual thing. It's a religion. It's a it's not just as unique, simple as I'm gonna set a goal and I'm gonna want it. But it's a slippery slope, because I think for a long time, a lot of Christians have been caught in the trap of manifestation, because obviously God promises us. Actually, does God actually promise us a lot on this earth? I was thinking about this the other day.
In what context?
In terms of like success and money and health and the things that we want on this earth. Does God actually promise?
Not in those words, but you can't derive things from that.
Like,
for I know the plans that I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you. If you're looking at prosperous, you can easily interpret that in the fleshly worldview. Again, going back to the fact that in the verse we read, for those who trust and lean on God. So I don't think the conversation we're having is saying that as Christians we can't aspire to be successful in our careers. So in that space, you might want to be prosperous in your career. One can say that is one of them. In the same verse, you can also apply health to it. Especially those that are struggling with health. The reason why we sometimes suffer, we go through these things. I'm thinking of, I don't want to say Peter, but consider it good when you suffer, because suffering brings So it's not a state where you suffer forever. There's a purpose that God wants to achieve. That purpose is always going to come with your spiritual growth, strength and faith, and obviously victorious on the other side, so that there's a testimony as well. So that's what I'm saying, that not in direct words, but there are definitely certain things you can pull up that can show you that actually. I remember one of our I don't want to say ex-aunties, but one of our aunties in Luton. Remember when she came, when she rode in with a Merc, and I remember the first thing she said to me was who told you that God wants you to drive a second-hand car? That's when she rode in with a Merc. Remember that white Merc? I don't know what I think about that, but I'm just saying she asked who said that God's people have to drive old second-hand beat-up cars. Who said that? And what would you have answered if you were there? Because Brother Job was rich, Abraham will be rich. Name them all: Isaac, Joseph, all of them. They were money. Joseph was second in Egypt. No?
I mean, oh my God. Okay, there's a lot. Okay.
Of course, there's a lot.
All right. Look. So to end matters, then I'm gonna give you final words. But to end matters, I just want to read 2 verses.
Okay.
I think for me they bring the whole conversation of manifestation in context, because, for starters, it's definitely not a biblical practice. We've seen that. There's nothing in the Bible that speaks of anything like being at one with the universe and bringing forth. In fact, there's nothing that says being at one with God in the context of bringing forth material things or earthly things. We are called, of course, to be at one in God, but we know that's salvation based and spiritually based. But the verse in First John 2 says that do not, verse 15, 1 John 2 verse 15, do not love the world or the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the desires of the flesh and the desires of the eyes and verse
pride of life.
Yeah, verse 16. For all that is in the world, the desires of the flesh and the desires of the eyes and pride of life is not from the Father, but is from the world. And the world is passing away along with its desires. But whoever does the will of God abides forever. Now, the reason I read that verse is because that verse is telling us that
we shouldn't be in
politics. Okay. Let's say, for example, someone was arguing about but manifest. I was okay, that's fine. Do your manifestation, but whatever it is, don't focus on manifesting things that are of the world or desires of the world, because the Bible has told us that do not love the things of the world or the things in it, the desires of life or the pride of life. And with that verse, it really whittles down the things that you're now left to manifest for. Exactly. You see, so already that that verse alone shifts our focus from the things of the world, the pride of the world, to the things of God and the pride of heaven. And how do you get those? The Bible tells us in multiple places. But I want to read another one just to end then, which is Philippians 4, verse 4, which says, "Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I will say rejoice. Let your reasonableness be known to everyone. The Lord is at hand. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." Now, there's, the verse is saying what it's saying, and I think we all know the verse. But what I love about the verse, it says, obviously, do not be anxious about anything. So you were talking before about the necessity of money, because obviously we need houses, we need, cars. I was going to say cars. I guess people need cars to do work and whatnot, and everything else. And yep, they're necessary. I'm not disagreeing with that. But the point is, you actually use the word about how they can bring anxiety, how they can force you to, but the Bible is directly speaking to that. Do not be anxious about anything, but with everything, with prayer and supplication, and I like what it says here, with thanksgiving. I think a big part of the Bible is contentment and thanksgiving, and I think that's very important. That in everything we always have to be thankful in everything. But what I really like, it says, do not be anxious about everything. Submit to God. Send all your prayers and supplications to God with thanksgiving. But then the verse doesn't go on to say, and if you're faithful, God will hear you and give you the desires of your heart. And if you're faithful, God will deliver. Or even God will hear you and do something. No, that's not what it says. What does it say? It says, and the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. So the solution to our prayers and supplications and being anxious about things, the solution is not getting the things.
But then if you have the peace already,
the solution is the peace.
No, but if you have the peace already and you're praying and whatnot, the solution is to get those things.
Huh?
If you have the peace already.
Yeah. Then
okay.
If you have the peace already, then you have no anything anxious to be anxious about.
Very true. I'm sat at a bus stop. I don't have money. I don't have a house. It's raining. It's pouring. I'm at peace. But what's the next step?
You're sitting there. Whether you're praising God or you're singing songs, whatever, you're waiting for the bus.
No. I don't have I don't have a house to go to.
Right. Okay. So you're thinking I need a house.
Yeah.
God needs to give me a house.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine.
I just feel like sometimes, most times, all the times, we need to be a bit more realistic with the discussions that we're having, and imagine the person at the bottom of the food chain who is most likely facing and struggling these things. A couple of weeks ago, I came across a clip, I think I sent it to you, of a situation, I think in Nigeria, don't quote me on that, where Islamic extremists, I think, were chasing some Christians out of their place and things like that. So now they've set up like a camp somewhere.
Yeah.
People are literally living in camps. There's lack of food there and whatnot. Now, these are all believers and they have faith. They believe that God has got a plan for them. But if you look at their reality of that they're living at, they've got to be thinking about, okay, we need food to eat. Yeah. We need water to drink.
Yeah.
Okay. So you might have them be at peace because they understand that if God is for us, who can be against us? But they still need these physical needs. So that's what
I don't think that applies here.
That was just that was the extension that I was giving to say that. But if you have the peace already, then what you need is the material stuff.
But this is what I'm saying. That I don't think that applies here, because when you're talking about if you're talking about war, or in terms of famine, or the poor, or the widowed, or the orphans, we know those are situations that people find themselves in, and we know God addresses those as well. So verses like this are talking about all things being equal. They're not talking about if there's a genocide happening and Christians are being killed left, right, and center, and God is saying, don't be anxious about anything. But no, these are talking about.
Still apply.
I mean, there are other verses that can apply. You know, if you read at Psalms, how many times was David saying, you know, even though my enemies are surrounding me, I will take comfort in the Lord, or whatever. So there are other verses that apply for those situations. But for verses like this, are all things being equal. And I want to actually push back on something you said. Say that you said, I think sometimes we need to be more realistic about certain things. I think Christians need to be more idealistic.
Okay.
And more spiritual, not quote unquote realistic.
Yeah, let me explain that. What you find most times in finishing is that sometimes the way we preach or teach the message almost comes across as detached from the real world, right? So then that's why the language exists, where, okay, fine, theory-wise, this is the case, but practically, you know, what can I do? Because there's almost like a gap between the theory and the practice.
Example, because I don't think I entirely agree. So give me an example so I can see what you're saying in terms of theory-wise. Yeah, okay, but practically, what can I do? Because I don't think I agree with that premise to begin with.
I think the whole conversation we've been having can be an example, in the sense that you can have, we understand, so okay, fine, we're talking about manifestation and whatnot, so we understand that it's not to conjure things out of nothing, for example, it's to trust and rely in God, and God will look after you. Okay, that's the theory. And then practically that might look like you needing a job, you needing a house, you needing, food, water, or whatever. So therefore, if we are communicating that conversation to somebody, there needs to be as well as preaching that God will look after you, there needs to be a bridge that crosses that what you're saying to the reality that person is facing.
Where does it say that God will look after us in communicating anything that suggests that we won't need to work or go to the fields and clean or anything like that?
You saying that, I'm guessing that you're taking that from a angle of, let's say, somebody that doesn't want to work or something like that.
Huh? No, because you're saying we're saying God will look after you, but then this person will still need a job, will still need somewhere to live, and everything else. So I'm saying I'm trying to understand biblically, where do you see the disconnect between, or where does it say that God will look after us in a language or in a way that communicates to us that this means we won't need a job?
No.
Or we're not gonna need to go out to work.
Or rather, that person might need a job to start off with anyway. So
that person will need a job.
Okay, so all I'm trying to say is that I don't know about you, but sometimes when you imagine the world, you can only imagine it from your perspective, and that often can mean from where you are. So a lot of things we discuss, and in your mind, there's a bunch of people that are sitting in houses like this, and they all have jobs, right? Excuse me. But then the practical reality of things is that there are people that are struggling that need job. Yeah. Now, obviously, they need to search for those jobs, They knew to go out, give out CVs or whatever, interview or whatever. But even in that context, it also applies that God will provide that for them. You see? Otherwise, unless if we are putting a separation between, no, this one applies to spiritual things, physical things, you're on your own.
I'm sorry. Before I'm not understanding where the disconnect is. So before you, Karen, I need you to help me bridge the gap. And we've got about 9 minutes before we start saying, okay, we're over time. So, okay, you're saying that people who are struggling, people who need jobs, people maybe who are struggling with housing, maybe they're homeless or whatnot. Yeah. But you. So what, are you saying? Are you saying there are people who are preaching to these people who are struggling? Let's say someone has just been made homeless. Are you saying there are people who are preaching them or encouraging them, saying, "Oh, don't worry, God will look after you," and then that's it? As in, almost not encouraging them, but almost giving them permission not to do anything in terms of going out to work or anything. Is that the disconnect that you see? Is that what you're understanding?
I'm just speaking on the same thing, but I've just thought of an example that I can use. I think that make you understand. When the two disciples found the man sat at the temple, I think, and they said to him, "Silver and gold I have none, but in the name of Jesus, stand up and walk." Yeah. No, is that the one? No, that's not the one. Sorry. James, I think it's James, where it says that what good is it to say to somebody be warm, but then you don't give them a coat.
Yes. Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is that what I'm saying is that when we are preaching, there's responsibility for us, to make sure that the sermon or whatever it is, the encouragement you're encouraging someone with, lands even practically to that person. It just doesn't stay as a be warm kind of conversation. Yeah. So you just don't say to somebody, be warm, God will keep you warm, be warm. But then practically the person is actually cold because the person is homeless and whatnot. That message needs to be practical for that person that's cold. Am I making sense if I put it like that?
You are making sense, but you're quoting the Bible. So so I'm still failing to see why you say when we're talking about these things, we have to be more realistic and not, because what you're saying, the Bible says that.
Yeah.
So that's a very practical thing that the Bible teaches us.
The realistic part of it is that it's not just about saying, okay, the Bible says be warm, God is gonna keep you warm.
The Bible doesn't say that.
No, I'm just giving you an example. Yeah. But then
okay, fine. But this is where the issue is, because the point you're making, I want a biblical example that supports the point you're making, because you can't use the be warm verse, because the point that verse is making is contrary to what you're saying.
In what way?
Or rather, it's agreeing. So for example, the verse you're quoting in James, it is literally saying you can't do this. That's silly, right? So. And that's what I'm saying. The Bible already says that. So in essence, the Bible is telling us.
And that's why I say that maybe that might explain what I'm trying to say the best, because that is what I was trying to say. So that with the message has to also practically apply to the person. So maybe realistic was the wrong word to use, because it implies maybe a difference. But what I was trying to say is that it's not just about preaching a message at the pulpit.
So maybe a better way to phrase it is
in a way that it also benefits that. Okay, so
maybe a better way to put it is what message may not land practically. So give me an example of a message that we as Christians may bang on about or preach or encourage that may not land practically. I guess maybe let me phrase it like that, because my point is, as far as I'm aware, if anything, I'm impressed at how practical the Bible is. It's very practical, because I think the Bible understands that we have spiritual needs, we have emotional needs, and we have physical needs. And the Bible, for me, addresses all three of those adequately and clearly.
My point, I wasn't saying that the Bible.
No. I know. So give me an example. So give me an example of a message that we as Christians may speak on that maybe may land theoretically, but may not translate. I mean, that thought came because of what we're talking about, so feel free to use what we're talking about now.
That's actually what I was just thinking about.
So, yeah, one that translates theoretically, but maybe not so much practically.
I can't think of an example right now, so I'll concede for now until the next time. But I do know that it's it's hard to it's not hard to explain, but for some reason I'm failing to put it into to find the right connecting words to get what I'm trying to say across. But essentially, the last way I can phrase it is to avoid no, forget it. Don't worry. I'll literally just dig my own grave even more.
All right.
That is fine.
Here's what I do agree with, obviously, and that James 2 passage, James 3, or the whole book of James is my favorite. I can't remember where the passage is, but it's probably one of my favorite in the Bible after the book of Romans, because it really does bring faith alive. Because it's not enough for us to just be saying, oh, you know what, be warm, or do this. It's like, okay, fine, if your brother is starving, feed him. It's literally saying that if someone is hungry, give them food. Like, I don't know if it was you I was talking to, but there's a time where I was like, some prayers are not needed. Like, it's Christians need to stop praying about certain things, because God is like, literally, the answer is in your pocket. Like, you see that little blue card in your pocket?
Brother John has gone a few days without eating. Bless Brother John.
Yeah, you see that little blue card in your pocket? Yeah, so on that point, I definitely do agree with you. But ladies and gentlemen, listen, we set out to talk about manifestation. We wandered a little bit. We spoke about a lot of things, but I really enjoyed the conversation. I think we touched on some really important aspects of the Christian life, of New Age philosophy. And if you've been with us since the beginning of this episode, then you know that we had some really interesting discussions about demonic, pagan, and gods and everything else. If you just listen to this as the podcast episode, then just know that you can listen to our entire recording on Rumble, where you can be with us from the beginning to the end. Yeah, listen, it's fun over there, so do go over there. Pronic, last words?
Oh, how do you even sum up such a conversation? I think my last words would be this, that for Christians especially, we need to realize that there's, and I think I'm saying this a lot more now, that there's a spirit that is purposeful in what it's doing, and the aim is to deceive. And the best way to deceive people is to make them think that there's nothing wrong with what they're doing. So at the very least, let's learn to challenge things, let's learn to question things. Manifestation, at the very least, if you cannot see it in the Bible, as a Christian, you should be asking yourself, well, where is this coming from? I wish you all the best in your spiritual life, but as of this episode,
thank you very much, guys. You've been listening to Offbeat POV with me, Chin and Peronic. Until next time, stay offbeat. Bye.